Hello students. In my previous lecture on UPS, I have discussed the working of two different types of UPS systems, that is online UPS and offline UPS. And I have also told you the definition, utility and application of UPS system. Today, I will tell you the basic differences between the online and offline UPS system and working of another type of UPS, and also about some important parameters which you should know when you are either planning to design a UPS or experiment with it or to purchase it. Here are some differences between online and offline UPS systems. Though there are many differences between these two, here I have jotted down 9 very important differences between them. The first one for the online UPS is the main power supply and the load are isolated. However, for the offline UPS, the first point is the main power supply and the load are not isolated. Now, what is this isolation means? Actually, when we are using a UPS, it is very important to separate the critical load and the AC main supply, so that if there will be any irregularity in the input AC, then that will not be able to affect the performance of the critical load. For this reason, the isolation is very important. So, it is possible to isolate the supply and the load in case of online UPS. However, it is not possible for offline UPS. Why? Because in online UPS, the UPS static switch is a normally on type switch and the main static switch is a normally off type switch. So for normally on type switch, that is for online UPS, it is possible to isolate the load and the power supply. The second point for online UPS, the load voltage is free from distortion. Why? Because as the inverter is always on. However, the second point for offline UPS is the load voltage is not free from distortion. The third point is the voltage regulation is better in case of online UPS than offline UPS. What is voltage regulation? That is, if there will be any change, any irregularity in the input voltage, then this change will not affect the load voltage. So, it is not possible for offline UPS. However, voltage regulation is poor for offline UPS. The fourth point for online UPS, there is no disturbance in the current when the power AC main power fails, as the transfer or transition time is practically zero for online UPS. However, the fourth point for offline UPS is there is a disturbance in the current whenever the main power fails. The fifth point for online UPS is the efficiency of the online UPS is low efficiency. However, the fifth point for offline UPS is it is more efficient than online UPS, as the charger circuit, I hope you remember, from the left side, the first block for both type of UPS, that is online and offline UPS, was rectifier cum charger circuit, because it is charging up the battery and it is always on for the offline UPS. Number 6 point, online UPS is more expensive than offline UPS. Why? Because in case of online UPS, for power conditioning, voltage conditioning, to keep the output voltage constant, frequency constant, we have to use automatic voltage regulator. However, it is not required for offline UPS. The power handling capability, the 7th point for the online UPS, the power handling capability of the battery charger as well as that of the inverter should be high. However, for the offline UPS, the power handling capability of the UPS has reduced drastically. Number 8 point, the wattage of the rectifier is required to be high, because we are to use the rectifier most of the times, because online UPS is inverter preferred UPS. So the wattage of the rectifier should be high in order to keep the rectifier safe. However, no such requirement is needed for offline UPS. Number 9 point, transfer time is much less for online UPS. However, the transfer time from mains to inverter is pretty long for offline UPS. I hope you remember, transfer time is what? It is the time taken by the system to sense the failure of the input AC mains and to switch over from the direct path, that is the main static switch path, to the UPS part. That is the action of the UPS only when the AC main fails, and this transfer time for online UPS is approximately or practically zero. However, for the offline UPS, I have told you, it is much longer than the online UPS system. Try to jot down all the points on your copy. Remember all the points. Now, whenever you are to use a UPS system or experiment with it, as a technical person, you must know about the specification of the UPS. Here are some common specifications of offline UPS. Similarly, we will see some important specifications of online UPS also. The first one is the power rating of the UPS. That is the maximum power limit of an offline UPS can be 500 volt ampere, or it can be 1 kilovolt ampere, or it can be 2 kilovolt ampere. However, 50 kilovolt ampere, that is much greater than 2 kilovolt ampere, is not possible generally. The second point is the input voltage. That is, the mains input voltage range is in between 170 to 270 volt with 50 Hz frequency line. Second one is the battery of 24 volt with efficiency of 6.5 ampere hour. A battery voltage of 48 volt, that is a battery of 48 volt, can also be used with 6.5 ampere hour efficiency, and etc. The third point is output voltage. That is the voltage which is to be fed to the critical load. That is the when the main supply, that is the AC main supply is present, then the load voltage will be 230 volt plus minus 5% of 230 volt, that is 5% tolerance. And when the UPS system is on, that is the second one, then the output voltage will be 230 volt plus minus 0.5% tolerance. That is, I have already told you, the output voltage will be more regular, will be better conditioned when we are using the UPS system. Number 4 point, output voltage waveform. That is, it is essentially sinusoidal. The 5th point, the output frequency, because what the load, critical load we are to serve, we are to feed, are all the loads are AC loads. Okay, so obviously the output frequency is 50 Hz, is to be 50 Hz. Then when the main supply is on, the frequency is 50 Hz plus minus 3%. That is this one, plus minus 3%. However, the second one, that is when the UPS system is on, the frequency is 50 Hz plus minus 2 Hz. Okay. Number 6 point, battery recharge time. That is how long the battery will take to recharge and to feed the critical load. It takes approximately 4 hours to charge fully. The 7th point is the backup time. Backup time is one of the most important parameters of any type of UPS you are using. Some type of UPS give us greater backup time and some type of UPS give us lower or smaller backup time. So the backup time is very important. The more the backup time, then the greater time we can feed the load when the AC supply is off. For offline UPS, this backup time is 30 minutes or more. It is not so high. Number 8 point is the transfer time. I have already told you what is transfer time. That is the changeover time or transition time from the mains to the UPS or the inverter. The transfer time for offline UPS is 5 milliseconds typically. Number 9 point is the efficiency of the UPS system. That is what the UPS system we are using, to what extent it is efficient to give us a proper AC waveform at the output. The efficiency of an offline UPS is greater than 85%. That is pretty good. Number 10 point, protections. That is, for offline UPS, what the protections we have or what the protections are provided by the offline UPS system. Output overload protection, that is whenever the output voltage will be overloaded, then also it gives us protection for that. Second one is the mains overload. If there will be any overload of the AC mains, then also the UPS will be able to protect the load. And low battery, if sometimes the battery voltage is very low, then also the UPS system is able to protect the load. You can write down all the specifications on your copy. You should remember all this. because in future you may be using UPS, you may be experimenting with it, so you should know it. Here are some specifications of online UPS. Number 1 is power rating. As I already told you, for the offline UPS, here you can see the power rating of the online UPS is 500 volt ampere, or it can be 1 kilovolt ampere, or it can be 5 kilovolt ampere, or it can be 50 kilovolt ampere, etc. That is, you can see the power rating is comparatively higher than that of the offline UPS system. The second one is the output voltage. Output voltage in this case, because online UPS is the inverter preferred UPS, so here the output voltage fluctuation or irregularity is much less. So you can see the tolerance is much less than offline UPS. Here the output voltage is 230 volt plus minus 0.1% tolerance. Then number 3 is the output frequency. You know the line frequency should be 50 Hz, but it is not exactly 50 Hz always. So the output frequency is 50 Hz plus minus 0.1% tolerance. Number 4 is input voltage, that is 230 volt plus minus 15% tolerance. Number 5 is the output voltage waveform. Here the waveform is essentially a sine wave. Number 6 is a power factor. It is very important. It is greater than 0.8 lagging. That is, the current is lagging behind the voltage. Number 7 is backup time. You already know about backup time. It is comparatively more than the offline UPS. The backup time for online UPS is 30 minutes to 4 hours. It is pretty long than the offline UPS. Number 8 is total harmonic distortion. That is, whatever voltage we are getting at the output, AC voltage, may have some distortions. It is much less. That is, as it is inverter preferred, so far the distortion is much less. So here the total harmonic distortion is less than 0.3%. Number 9, efficiency. It is almost same as that we have seen for offline UPS. The efficiency is greater than 85%. And the last one is the protections provided by the online UPS or provided in the online UPS system. Over voltage or under voltage cutout protection, and the second one is the over current trip with reset. You can jot down all these points on your copy. Remember all these points. This is another type of UPS, apart from online and offline UPS systems. Though a variety of UPS systems are commercially available, and we have to use them according to the requirement. For your course, you have to learn or you have to know about only about these 3 types of UPS systems. That is online UPS, offline UPS, and this line interactive offline UPS. Here in this circuit diagram, you can see the circuit is comparatively simpler than that of the online and offline UPS. That is, it requires lesser number of blocks, comparatively lesser number of blocks than offline and online UPS systems. Let us now see how it actually works. In this diagram, you can see the main part or sometimes it is called the heart of the system. The main part of the system is the battery charger cum inverter circuit. In this system, normally the critical load is served or fed by the AC main supply through the main static switch and through the inductor L. Now we can divide the overall performance of this UPS into two modes. Let us see. Working of line interactive offline UPS, or simply you can call it line interactive UPS. This is mode 1. The first line written here, you can see the heart of the system, as I already told you, is the battery charger cum inverter circuit. It is mode 1 when the AC main supply is present. The static switch, you can see the diagram, the static switch is closed, that is on, and you know when a switch is closed, we indicate or represent the switch as a shorted path. You can see here it is represented as a shorted path, and the AC main supply is serving or feeding the load through this switch and the inductor. Okay. The inverter cum charger block operates as a charger and it charges the battery bank. It is the operation or working in mode 1. Very simple. And the diagram you can see here is the equivalent circuit when the AC main supply is present. Note down on your copy. This is mode 2 for the line interactive UPS. When the AC main supply fails, that is the main part, that is the main objective, that is when the AC main supply fails or accidentally cuts off, or there will be any irregularity in the AC main supply, then the static switch, main static switch, that is only one switch is present here, you can see this switch is now turned off and it is represented here by the open path, is turned off, and the inverter cum charger block, and the inverter cum charger block is this one, supplies power. Actually the inverter cum charger block in mode 1, the battery has been charged up, and the battery bank now, that is when the AC main supply fails or accidentally cuts off, it supplies power to the load via or through the inverter, that is as you can see here through this path, it is supplying power to the load. Now the total time taken for detecting or sensing the AC mains power failure, that is it is actually the transfer time, that is the sensing of the AC main power failure and to change over after the failure, is 5 millisecond, that is 1/4 of a cycle. I have already told you about this 1/4 of a cycle in my previous lecture, that the line voltage we are using is 50 Hz. So the time period T is 20 millisecond. That is 1/4 of 20 millisecond is 5 millisecond. So the UPS will take minimum or typically 5 millisecond as the transfer or changeover time. So the circuit you are seeing here is the equivalent circuit when the AC main supply fails. It is the mode 2 operation. You can draw this circuit on your copy. However, line interactive offline UPS is another type of UPS. We can use it, but it has some drawbacks. One of the major drawbacks is this configuration of UPS does not provide any isolation between the AC main supply and the load, which is a very important point, because the isolation between the critical load and the main supply is always very important. Otherwise, any irregularity in the input AC voltage will affect the performance of the load. However, the advantage of using line interactive offline UPS is it is possible to provide a clean or pure voltage to the critical load with good voltage regulation by employing power conditioners like AC stabilizer or constant voltage transformer CVT. That is, we can use it. That is, for line interactive offline UPS, it is possible to obtain or to provide pure clean voltage to the critical load, and good voltage regulation is also possible. You can write down these points. Reliability of UPS. Now, whenever we are using any electrical apparatus, it is very important to know that how the system is reliable to us, reliable for us. That is the reliability of the system. So for the UPS also, we have to know about its reliability. Reliability, you can see the first point written here. Reliability is measured in terms of mean time between failures. That is, in short, we call it MTBF. And reliability or MTBF is expressed or written in thousands of hours. The second point is, as the UPS system is an alternative for the AC main supply. Why? Because we are to use the UPS when the AC main supply actually fails or accidentally cuts off or accidentally reduces, or there will be any sudden spike, irregularity in the input which may damage the load. For that purpose, we are alternatively using the UPS. And the critical loads, see the second point, and the critical loads like computers, medical equipments, very sophisticated medical equipments or laboratory equipments are served or fed by the UPS. So it is very important to know whether the UPS is reliable or not. So all these computers, medical equipments and etc., many others are being operated by using UPS in case of power failure or sudden reduction of input voltage. So the UPS system is to be extremely reliable, fail safe and easy to maintain. Say for example, we are using a medical equipment in intensive care unit where we cannot turn it off suddenly or even for a small period of time. So far, it is very essential to know whether the UPS we are using for this instrument, for this equipment, is reliable, fail safe and easy to maintain. That is, the UPS on which we are relying, we are depending, that is, it will serve us when the AC main supply will be off. But if it will fail, then it will not be able to serve the load. So the UPS system is to be extremely reliable, fail safe and easy to maintain. The third point is Reliability can be greatly increased by redundancy. It is a very important term in connection to reliability. Redundancy, that is to provide facilities in the power conditioning system to transfer the critical load from a failed UPS to an alternate UPS system, that is using more number of UPS than what is actually required. If one UPS fails, then the other one there will feed the load. That is, redundancy means extra, additional. That is, we will use more number of UPS, that is more than one UPS systems, and if one will fail, one UPS system will fail, then the others will serve it. So the last point, there may be two types of redundant systems. That is, we can make redundant UPS systems in two ways: parallel redundancy depending on the connection, and the second one is the dual and isolated redundancy. Here in this example you can see a typical redundant UPS system. Here two UPS systems are connected in parallel using two different static switches. You can see here two different static switches and two different UPS we are using for the same single load. That is, the circuit breakers are used to isolate the load from the two UPS systems and the mains. You can see here the circuit breakers, that is, these are the circuit breakers, because as I already told you that the isolation between the load and the AC mains is very important. Otherwise, any type of irregularity in the input AC voltage will affect the load. So the circuit breaker, the first one you can see, it is a manual bypass switch. It is a circuit breaker. Second one you can see, it is a circuit breaker, that is, it can be manual or automatic. It is generally automatic. And the third one is again a circuit breaker, another circuit breaker, and it is also automatic. So here you can see two UPS systems are used for a critical load. Now the UPS system, that is the number of UPS, can be more than this. This is just a typical example. As you have seen that in a UPS system, the battery bank is a very important block or a very important element. So, see the first point, for reliable operation of UPS systems, it actually depends largely upon the proper selection of the battery. That is, we cannot take any type of battery, otherwise it will affect the overall lifetime of the UPS. See the second point, though different types of batteries are commercially available to us, however, lead acid batteries are most commonly used for UPS. What type of batteries are available to us? There are different types of batteries we can use commercially available in the market, like lead acid batteries, nickel cadmium batteries, and sealed maintenance free SMF batteries. However, generally we use lead acid batteries. Remember this point. Now, some important parameters of battery. First one is the capacity of the battery. That is, whenever we are purchasing a battery for a UPS, we have to be careful about its capacity. That is, to what extent it will be able to serve the load, charge capacity. Second one is the efficiency of the battery. Capacity of the battery. What is the definition of the capacity of a battery? It is defined as the amount of current that the battery can supply in 1 hour. Keep in mind, the time is fixed 1 hour. It is expressed in ampere hour, AH. For example, if a battery is supplying 10 or supplied 10 ampere current in 1 hour, then it is a 10 ampere hour battery. Very simple. Remember it. Then capacity of a battery, that is, to what extent the battery is actually have a high capacity or is a high capacity battery or not, it depends upon the following factors. 3 different factors, main factors. Number 1, rate of discharge of the battery. Second one is the temperature, that is the operating temperature. Third one is the density of the electrolyte. You know, inside the battery there are 2 electrodes and a electrolyte. So the density of the electrolyte is also very important. So all these 3 main factors will affect the capacity of the battery. Now there are some important equations which you have to remember. But before that, I would like to mention about the efficiency of the battery. There are 2 different values of the battery efficiency. Number 1 is the ampere hour efficiency and number 2 is the watt hour efficiency. Ampere hour efficiency is, you can see here, you can see the 4th and 5th equations. That is, the ampere hour efficiency is the ratio of the ampere hour taken from the battery to the ampere hour supplied to it while charging. You can see the ratio AH during discharge and AH input while charging. You know, a battery is once charged, it can serve the load. So this charging and discharging times are very important, and the ampere hour during discharge divided by ampere hour input while charging or during charging is actually gives us the ampere hour efficiency. Then the watt hour efficiency, WH efficiency, it is actually ampere hour efficiency, I have just told you, multiplied with the ratio of average cell voltage. Cell means within the battery bank there are number of cells connected together. So the average cell voltage while discharging to, that is a ratio between these two, average cell voltage while charging to average cell voltage while charging. The first one was discharging and the second one is charging. So it is the ratio for watt hour efficiency. Remember these 2 equations for the efficiency part of the battery. Now see equation 1, that is the battery in kilowatt. It is the wattage of the battery. That is, it is actually the equation where you can see the product of load kilovolt ampere multiplied by power factor divided by inverter efficiency is actually the battery wattage. Second one is the number of cells, that is the number of cells within the battery bank, is equal to minimum allowable battery voltage divided by final voltage per cell. That is, final voltage means the maximum voltage which the battery cell has when it is at fully charged condition. The third equation, cell's capacity, that is kilowatt per cell, is equal to battery wattage in kilowatt divided by the number of cells. It's very easy. Say for example, we are using a battery bank which has 12 cells inside. So the battery wattage in kilowatt divided by 12 will give us cells capacity, that is kilowatt per cells. Remember all these equations. Try to write down all the equations on your copy. Now, after knowing about three different types of UPS system, about battery, about the reliability of the UPS, about different equations regarding the battery efficiency, wattage, cell efficiency or cell wattage, now you can practice a numerical problem that will make your concept more clear. You can do this numerical problem by yourself. The problem is, a UPS is driving 500 watt load which has a lagging power factor of 0.8. The efficiency of the inverter is 80%. The battery voltage is 25 volt DC. It can be 24 volt. Generally we use 24 volt. 25 volt is not available, but it is just an example. Assume that there is a separate charger for the battery. Now what you have to do? You have to find out, number one, kilovolt ampere rating of the inverter. Second one is the wattage of the rectifier, and third one is the ampere hour rating of the battery for a backup time of 35 minutes. Try to do this problem on your copy by yourself. I will discuss this in my next lecture. Thank you.